love Prince Harry, and Prince Harry should be king. He should be king. Prince Harry, not William. William and all of them in there, Camilla is the wicked witch of the devil himself, because she is part of why Princess Diana is not here. I do not like them. I am from the islands, and we don't need them in the Caribbean. Get lost. Demolish the monarchy. This is 2023, okay? And I will support Harry 100%. I do feel for him. Yes, I do. And everything in the book is the truth. And Charles is the monster, not Harry. Harry's no monster, not Meghan. He's bringing the story out right now. They are evil people. They are not nice. Behind the wall, we all are one human being, and behind that wall there are no difference with me and you and any other Brits. Give the people back the money. They are just welfare recipients, living off the taxpayers of the British people. And the British people are stupid, supporting that nonsense monarchy. It is nothing. It's just a title. It means nothing, a title. I'm angry at them.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Let me see who was here first. And then, Cappy G, thank you so much for 20 months membership. Diane Baptiste, thank you for the super sticker. Thank you very much for that. Greatly appreciate it. Okay. And MR, thank you for the Cash App. H Knight, thank you for being first. Okay, I'm going to scroll back in the other direction. And hey, Susie Q, Lydia Washington, Church Nellie is here. Or should I say, Church Nellie has come too. Didn't even need the smelling salt this time. But let's see. Lavender is here. Maurice B. Okay, let me get my slides up here. Okay. So it just seems like this late hour works for some people, and some people it doesn't. But of course, you know what? I am a night person, and I have been doing a morning routine longer than even I expected. So let's see what happens. I can't say that this is going to be a permanent thing. At least it's not my intention. But isn't there a road that is paved with good intentions? Okay, so if I do miss if I did miss a super chat, super sticker, or a milestone for your membership, I do apologize in advance. But it's a process. I'm pulling it together as we speak. Okay, so I think I got all of that where it needs to be. I am still fighting a copyright claim, but I believe that I shall be triumphant because I'm bringing out the truth right now. It's all in my book, as the island lady would say. Give the people back their money. Okay. And behind those walls, there's no difference between me and you. And okay, slides are ready. Oh, right there. There it is. Ta-da! Okay, so there's the big giant head. You know, for someone who has $1 billion fortune, I still cannot understand why Rupert Murdoch's glasses are askew. Why is his glasses like kind of tilted on his head? Is it because the emperor has no clothes? Like, you can't really tell because of this cartoon characterization of him, but even in day to day life, his glasses are always kind of cocked to the side as though he's, you know, how they say, if you want your, uh, if you want your baby to have a nice shaped head, you're supposed to manipulate it. I wonder who was manipulating his cranium. Uh, I don't know. Perhaps the dingo bit his cranium. Okay, that was bad. Okay, so I'm taking a quick scroll through. VS speaks royally. Hey, VS. Okay, so right here, take a look on your left. It is not over yet. There are still online publications that are chatting away about the Duchess of Sussex at the Invictus Games. Her outfits, unfortunately, there's not enough of them that share exactly what the reaction was to the Sussexes as much as it still lingers with Meghan's wardrobe. So, but you know what? We have to take what we can get. I mean, posting flattering, smiling images of the Sussexes is better than nothing at all. So we have to take what we can get. So this was a Korean magazine, and I did translate it. And you know what? Even in Korea, they still go through the whole list of things since they stepped back from official royal duty, etc., etc. So, um, really, it was nothing to gain from the article for myself because I've seen the same thing time and time again in Style, the French Vogue, and a few other places where they all give you the same generic information. And then finally, they get into the outfits. And so, even this outfit seems to have, um, and this was probably the one that was the least talked about rather, but it's the jumper she has on. It's a one piece, I believe, I think. And even that was like the talk of the town. And of course, maybe that's because this photo was more popular for other reasons, like, for instance, the fact that she was accused of partaking in a military parade. And, um, you know, it started off with, why is she going? And then it was like, why did she have to speak? And then why does she have to go to every event? As though they want to conveniently forget that that is Harry's wife. That is the Duchess of Sussex. And whatever his birthrights that he was born with, as long as they are lawfully wed, um, she's entitled to everything that he experiences as the Duke of Sussex. Um, they share the titles, they share the privileges, they share all that stuff. And that's just the way it is. I mean, no matter what the circumstances, you know, very powerful men are always invited to places with their wives at their side. And increasingly, very powerful women are allowed into spaces that some of us will never enter, and they have their partners at their side, just like anyone else. So, what difference does it make? But it wouldn't be the derangers if they didn't try to find some little thread to pull upon to create some type of controversy. I was on my burner account earlier, and I slipped into the darkness, if you will, and it's just I this this person who has a Twitter account. She regurgitates every lie. She feeds into every conspiracy theory. But what I did notice about it is she doesn't have much of a connection to a community other than sharing other people's stuff, because there were absolutely no likes on anything she said a week ago, just like there was no likes on anything she said yesterday. So really, nobody looks at her account. But for her own sake and benefit, she just um, that's what she does for a hobby, is hate. And of course, there's a lot of other things on there that lets me know that she's either a Brexiteer or a MAGA person. So that doesn't surprise me. You could look at the subscriptions they have on the YouTube, who they follow on the Twitter or Facebook, and of course the things that they share. Well, it doesn't take much to figure out where they're coming from. So very sad that that's what they seem to live for. But be that as it may, I don't care because I'm happy. I had last week, the week before, and whatever's coming down the pike. So take a look on the left. There is a collage that was put together of Meghan's New York looks. I'm trying to think what's missing from that collection, but those are the New York looks. I can recognize the first trip to New York when they were doing their reset, and of course the gold dress from the Ms. Award, and then of course the white one from Central Park, and exiting the restaurant. I didn't realize that that was in New York City, but yeah, so that is a nice collage on the left. And on the right side, another intrepid squatty put together the look for the very last known photos from Dusseldorf, where Meghan is wearing the gray sweater and the look like wool pants and the Cartier tank watch, and then of course that bracelet. I can't remember if that's Cartier or is that a Tiffany design. I know I've seen it before. I mean, I know she wears it, but I didn't realize it had like the little faux screws in it like that. So I can't remember. Oh yeah, that is Cartier. I can just barely see it inside of the bracelet, but that too is a Cartier piece. So yeah, she has her Cartier tank watch and bracelet. Good look for the Duchess of Sussex. And you know what? I'm so glad that she's not wearing her ring right now, because one of the things that adds to the anxiety of another duchess, if you will, um, is the fact that there's always this fear that she's going to lose the ring. She's always like, it affects the body language, and so even Barack Obama, in a crowded situation, took his ring off of his finger, or yeah, I think he took his ring and his watch off and put it in his pocket when he was shaking hands. I believe he was in Thailand or the Philippines, wherever he was, because even though some people made a big thing out of it, um, in order to use both your hands is just the wise thing to do. It's just that one person who seizes the opportunity compared to the vast majority of the people who wouldn't dream of doing something like that. So, you have to be smart about these things without apology. And then here's another photo that I'm only just seeing for the first time. At least I believe it is the first time. And of course, like I have said before, there's something about that gold light from the staging, or in this case, I don't know if this was from that promo video before the games, or was this a glow from the stage during the planning, or when that photo was taken. But it's a very cool silhouette, and that's another one of my faves. So, Well, we haven't heard from Our Majesty in quite some time. Let me prepare for let me prepare for it. Can't hear from Our Majesty without the proper theme music. Oh my goodness. No, that is awkward. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay. Okay, here goes. So it seems as though Sean, who has the ability to commune to the great beyond, to the notorious QE2, so let's see, according to Her Majesty, I, Queen Elizabeth II, ruler of the United Kingdom, and dresses that never fly up in the wind. Camilla, you've almost caused total blindness of maybe 2 or 3 people because of all that. I'm sorry, because that's all who were watching the humanitarian queen out. Thank you so much, Your Majesty. And if you're speaking about the Marilyn Monroe moment, I have watched that I don't know how many times, and it is a hoot. So thank you so much. I will pass that on to Clarence House. Queen out. I will pass that on to Clarence House. And okay, so back over here. Yes, the win. I looked at that VS, and I believe there was a bit of a tunnel effect. Um, with the air blowing against the staircase and the fact that the sides are enclosed like that. But you know what? Either way, it does not explain why Charles just took off like that. I mean, what is it about those Windsor men that they just don't seem to have? I mean, now see, if she would have had a relationship with the Queen other than the Queen being cordial, then the Queen probably would have told her, say, listen, you're supposed to weigh it down with like fishing weights or whatever. But in this case, that, uh, I mean, how does she's always stepping into a scene where she can't keep her hat on her head or she's trying to hold her dress down. How many times are you going to do this before you figure it out? How many times? I mean, open airfield, red carpet situation. It was cute the first few times Kate did it, and then it got old. Now it's just repugnant. It is absolutely repugnant. I don't get that. But fortunately, I don't have to stand upwind or downwind or any other direction to see it. But she has had this happen a few times before. Once coming out of church. Let's see. Her hooves look kind of smooth. Yeah, I get a feeling that she's probably wearing like those dance skins, like the dancers' tights. She's probably wearing like not just, traditional pantyhose. She's probably wearing tights, like something like a compression garment. Yeah, that is what we were looking at was her compression garment. I told you she's a big sloppy mess, a big sloppy mess. And this seemed to pop up the last 24 hours. I'm sure most of you all have seen it. That is, I suppose, all of the crew and the staff or the volunteers. I don't know. Maybe that's the Invictus Foundation people, perhaps. Maybe those are the people from Team Germany Invictus. Yeah, I doubt if the Sussexes would have flown a whole team of people over there. So that must be the uh, mostly the German people there and some people from LA or whatever. Because the thing is, Harry may have made a few trips to Germany that we're not aware of. He may have made at least one trip that we're not aware of. But the fact that the founder of the Invictus could go into that space for the event as though he is as familiar as anyone could possibly be, even though he pretty much just, arrived that day and maybe a couple of other occasions. But, in this electronic information age, it's not difficult to plan things from a distance. But then again, let us not forget all the other professionals that were involved with that. Like yesterday, I introduced you all to a couple of people that were very proud to. Let's see, was it yesterday I had that? But anyway, they were very proud for their participation in setting up the Invictus Games. So, yeah, that's what the professional. Oh, here they are right here. That's what the professionals do. These are some of the people that's done all the wiring and I don't know, maybe to broadcast it through the interweb and such. But yeah, so that is the team of guys that and girls that made all that possible. So there you go. Diapers. Well, in the UK they call them nappies, which is probably weird when I say Lord Nappy Head. Don't show any more of those silky chicken bits. Thank you so much for that, Legs. I will take that on advisement, although I do think there's a couple of more images of them coming up. Now, here is a close up of that large photo. Now, I've tried to find a high resolution image up close like that. I could not find one. So, even taking it from the larger one, it still doesn't have the same detail, even though this is not great, but it's better than when I tried to do it. So we can pretty much figure out this was obviously the last day that they took that photo. It's amazing how they found the time to um, have all of these like interactions with people from the athletes to the volunteers and all the staff and crew and everything. It's incredible that they were able to have as much FaceTime. But I did hear one of the people say that Harry absolutely shook the hand of every athlete. Every athlete had, even if it was just seconds, they had some FaceTime with Harry. So impressive. Now, let's get to that outfit. I could not find the name. I was it Carolina Herrera, but I did find this um, image of the silk classic trench and the silk paper bag pants. Okay, but yeah, so that's what it looks like on the website for it. But again, great outfit. If you guys remember the name, please just go ahead and throw it in chat. Alice Langdon, thank you so much for the super sticker and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. And then here we have the Celine bag. I don't think I do remember. No, I don't. I don't recall that bag. Do recall when they handed her a bag, um, but I thought it was larger than that one, so maybe not. So this is like the first time I've seen a close up of the Celine bag, and wow, that's a bag that will keep its shape and age very well over the years. Absolutely. You can see the good stitching and everything. Doesn't look like there's any of the synthetic lining on the inside. Doesn't look like it, but and even if it is, I mean that's not the worst thing. But uh Yeah, it looks like it's very well put together. I did not notice the price for it, but let me see. What do they call it? The Is it the Cure Triomphe bag? That sounds very French. But yeah, so that's pretty cool too. Looks like there's a magnetic clasp on it. You see it? Looks like there must be a bigger, well, a magnet on the inside of the flap, and then there's a magnet at the bottom. Um, okay, okay, I can see how that's made. Yeah, it looks like it closes with a magnet. And that's pretty cool too, that the magnet kind of recesses into the leather. Can you see that? See the dark ring? So it looks like the magnet kind of fits inside of that circle so that it would, you definitely wouldn't have it lose its shape because of the flap going left and right and everything. I think that would probably help it keep its shape. Interesting engineering going on there. And then, of course, there is the Glazia. This seems to be an African American. No, maybe it's not. Maybe it's from Africa, or maybe it's from the UK. But it seems like people of African descent are the ones that put this online magazine together. Meghan Markle at the Invictus Games, the queen of minimalism and elegance. And what is the date? That was today, 16 hours ago. So, as I said, and I did a screenshot myself, as I said, here we are. It is Thursday, Friday for some of you, and they are still talking about Meghan's outfits at the Invictus game. And surely most of the people that are reading this have not watched the games. Um, I mean, there was a nice size audience, but it wasn't exactly the Olympic Games. And the fact that you've had so many people watching, but still not a huge like television event in most countries, and then for a whole week later, you still got people talking about what Meghan wore. Very impressive. Very impressive. And so much of that has to do with Meghan's confidence, her intelligence, her ability to choose clothing that is flattering for someone of her body shape. Um, Very, very impressive. Yes, Barnshar, Meghan Invictus. Oh, there we are. Sorry, hit the wrong one. Meghan's Invictus Fashions is still slaying. Absolutely. I'm fascinated. If I see any more tomorrow, I'm definitely going to share it with you. But um, they are still talking about it. And this is, let me see, one of the squaddies, Iris, put this collage together. So you can see some up close details. And also, just like the gold dress, it comes in a mini. If you guys remember, the gold dress actually had a mini version. Well, this one does as well, which just makes sense. And with the mini here, you can see that there is straps, that spaghetti straps, just like the kind Aretha Franklin used to wear. Why she used to wear them, I don't know. I got so much anxiety. I really should have gone to see a professional. You all don't know how much anxiety I had as a young adult over the years looking at Aretha Franklin in spaghetti straps, always wondering, is today the day? Are they going to give out today? Is it going to like work like a guillotine and just slice her arm off? I was always so shaken after looking at Aretha Franklin in the spaghetti strap. What that has to do with today's conversation, I have no idea. But I'm starting to get PTSD, so I probably should just move on, shouldn't I? But it was so jarring for me to see to see Aretha Franklin wearing spaghetti straps. There's just some things that should not happen. You know what I mean? You should not go into the woods with the Prince of Wales unaccompanied, uh, this close to him getting on the throne if you're married to him, right? You should not touch a hot stove. You shouldn't go backwards on a one-way street. And you should not wear spaghetti straps if your name is Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul. So even right now, my palms are sweating. My lips are quivering. I'm getting that feeling again. YM George says, "Hi, Baron, requesting prayers for the squatties for my beautiful mommy, my queen, who passed today." Oh my goodness, YM Droid. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, oh my goodness. I am so sorry to hear that. Wow, that must, ooh, that is, I am so sorry to hear that. Absolutely. You definitely, you don't even have to ask. We will pray. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And we are here for you. Absolutely. My goodness, that is shocking. My goodness. I'll put a prayer card on the community tab for sure. I will do that. I will put a prayer card on the community tab so that the rest of the squad, if you want to share your thoughts and feelings or your prayers with YM Droid and her family, you can definitely do that. But yes, I will put a prayer card up. Okay. Okay, there we go. And right here, you can see we deeply, I'm sorry, we are deeply honored and grateful to have had the privilege of hosting the Duke and Duchess at this year's Invictus game, Dusseldorf. Their presence filled our team with pride and inspiration. And at the top, it says, "Thank you, Duke and Duchess, for your inspiring visit." Um, that is the True Patriot Love Foundation. And the guy with the bagpipe that Prince Harry was speaking of, you could see him there on the far right side. And again, you can kind of always figure out exactly what day and what hours of the day by what Meghan is wearing. So, um, this was the event where they gifted Harry one of their signature plaid or tartan plaid shirts. But yeah, that was the occasion right there. And there's the up close. You can see our Duchess wedged between those two ladies there. And there is the bagpipe gentleman. I I apologize, I forget his name, but that is the one who I believe he had over 60 occasions where during his time in the service that he played the bagpipes for his comrades, for his fellow soldiers. Um, and there was that very touching moment with himself and Prince Harry that you can see here on the right side at the closing ceremony. Sorry, went too far. So right there, James Roberts says, "Don't mind me, just reminiscing about how lucky I was to work with Alan March Sports, that is, out in Germany for the Invictus Games in Dusseldorf. An experience I will never forget and memories made for a lifetime thanks to everyone I met there. Um, IG23, hashtag sports announcer, hashtag stadium host. So this is one of the guys that is responsible for keeping that very high octane environment that went on during the games. And just like the DJs, the atmosphere that they helped to create for the Invictus Games was absolutely incredible. They have done so. I mean, some of the times I would find myself listening, and yeah, I don't know if he was one of the people I heard, but his voice literally pulled you right into the event as though you were in the bleachers yourself, which was amazing. So they did an incredible job. I don't know who selected the talent or who is responsible for the overall looks and sounds and environment, but it was a very, very well put together um, occasion. And also, thank you, Boeing, for sponsoring or partnering with the Invictus Games, because you can definitely see where some of their investment in this in the soldiers, you can see where their money went. The staging, the arena, everything was like above board. So impressive. So incredibly impressive. And then there's this side view of the stadium. Um, this just gives you an idea of the vastness of the space. I mean, after all, it is a football arena, and it seems to have a retractable roof, if I'm correct. And they had to put the floors in for this occasion. They had to really, alter this space, but that's what it's made to do. Um, and those crews of people that we've seen, those are the ones that are responsible for doing this. I have never been so appreciative of the behind the scenes work, probably since the Oprah Winfrey Show. I remember how impressed I was with the producers and such of the Oprah Winfrey Show, because they really knew how to pull off a miracle. And likewise, when you see an event like this, it really reminds me why the writers are on strike, because they're making memories that people will take with them for the rest of their lives, memories that are recorded for posterity and such, that people will be able to watch years from now. And over time, if they are due some type of compensation for their work, residuals for their work, then that's what they deserve. Um, because the management and such that owns those television shows that are being produced by the or written by the writers, they're going to profit from that for years. So this is why you need professionals, people who know what they're doing. So hats off to those folks. Now, let's get into Rupert Murdoch. Bum, bum, bum. I once asked Rupert Murdoch why he was so opposed to the European Union. That's easy, he replied. When I go into Downing Street, they do what I say. When I go to Brussels, they take no notice. Now, to be fair to Rupert Murdoch, he said that he never said that. But this has been a quote that has been floating around for quite some time. And certainly, given the hubris of the Rupert Murdoch that we all seem to have experienced through his media company, uh, I, I'm leaning toward that. He probably did say it, but there's no evidence, no proof that he said that. But let's face it, he seems to. It has been said it has been alleged that he seems to have number Downing Street on a tether. That number 10 Downing Street is as though, let's see, if he pulls their chain, they're supposed to bark. That's what it appears to be. And then also, it seems as though he has somewhat of a relationship with the royal family through his media company, that likewise he seems to get his way. 70 years of manipulation. He knows how to get his way. And crikey, I hope this doesn't hurt our reputation. And of course, that was a cartoon in reference to the Dominion voting machines, the machines that they accused the company of participating in election fraud, even though the states or the counties where the alleged fraud took place didn't even use Dominion equipment. So they had to pay out a settlement of $787 million. And why do I remember that number? Well, because my favorite airplane nowadays is the Boeing 787, the Dreamliner. So that's why it's easy to remember that. Odd the way that works out. But yeah, so Fox News Channel, which tapped into the growing cable TV 24-hour news cycles, that is how Fox News grew so big. It's because you had CNN, which owned the medium for a long time, and then suddenly here comes MSNBC and Fox News. And so you had those three big giants on cable TV fighting it out. And well, anyway, there's a divided audience, but there was a solid, let's say, 36% or more of Americans that watch nothing but Fox News day after day. And then the rest were divided among everybody else. So that is a big piece of pie to have in one's plate. And that's why Fox News was so powerful for so long. Plus, they didn't mind the lies, they didn't mind lying about stuff. So, after being in the United States for only 1 year, Ronald Reagan made this Australian citizen, made this Australian a citizen, and then he had his FCC chairman scrap the fairness doctrine, which kept newspapers and television programs from lying to the American people. Ever since, Rupert Murdoch has been brainwashing Americans into believing our legitimate press is lying like he lies. Fox News is not news, it is propaganda that the oligarchs use to poison the minds of Americans. It is time we treated it as such, and that is the truth. That is the truth. It is a huge propaganda machine. It just cranks out. I remember their what is it, Fair and Balanced? They even had the nerves to call themselves Fair and Balanced. So the heir who won an empire, Hal Larklin Murdoch, has brought up was brought up in New York high society, but never behaved like a spoiled rich kid as he poured through newspapers with his mogul father before growing up to inherit his life's work. As an adult, Larklin Murdoch has been steeped in the ethos of his father's media empire for more than 3 decades. So they seem to be in lockstep with one another as to how the world should look. And let's not make any mistake about this. There seems to be a what do you call it? Uh, uh, a war for the hearts and minds, a battle for the hearts and minds, for people not just in the United States or the United Kingdom, but just about everywhere in the free, industrialized, mostly Democrat Western world. But the oligarchs, the same oligarchs that had a lot of power before the Russian Revolution, the same oligarchs that were in power during the Soviet Union, are the same ones that mostly are in power today, save for a few people, or a few families. But there's always these powerful families in every society that will use their lobbyists, will use their whatever they can possibly use to somehow win the culture war, um, or or win a revolution, if you will. But they're insulated from the things that most working class people worry about. And so all you have to do is convince enough people that you're not a monster or that you mean well. And uh, like, for instance, Trump is not really interested in winning more people. He just needs a handful of people to help him out on election day. And unfortunately, that's the same thing the Democrats do. Neither one of them really care about who goes to the polls most days unless it's close. Then all of a sudden, they're worried. And Rupert Murdoch uses his media company to, I guess, in this attempt to cleanse Western culture, Western society of anything that is not white and not European. That appears to be what they are in pursuit of, is a more verdant society for rich white men, for one percenters, for the haves and have mores. So right here, this is encouraging, maybe. Peter Jukes, a Wall Street analyst who has covered the Murdoch business for decades, volunteers off the record that it would be fair to assume Larklin gets fired the day Rupert dies. Now, what does that mean? If Larklin, who is, pretty much running things anyway, that he will be fired the day his father dies? Now, I didn't get a chance to see the article, but I'm interested to know what that entails. Is that good news or bad news? I'm going to find out and I will get back to you. But that's what Peter Jukes had to say, is that there's a likelihood that he will be terminated as soon as his father takes his last breath. And just a reminder, I think he's what, 94, 96, something like that. So I don't want to say we have that to look forward to, but we have that to look forward. No, I mean, that's not polite, is it? I'm not saying that we have that to look forward to, but um, I don't know if I could fix my mouth to say it any other way. But let me take a look at the Guardian. I'll just take a look at it. First couple of things here. Rupert Murdoch is stepping down his chair. Yeah, sure. In a note to the first staff reported in the Murdoch controlled Wall Street Journal, he wrote for I'm trying to get to the part about that boy being fired. So Larklin Murdoch, Murdoch's eldest son, now seems to be his successor. In the note, Murdoch called Larklin a passionate, principled leader who can take the company into the future. On behalf of the Fox News Corp board of directors, leadership team, and all the shareholders who have benefited from. Oh, you know what? I wonder if that's because part of the controlling interests of the company, like when Rupert Murdoch dies, does his other kids get a portion of it? Do they get to vote who's in and who's out? I wonder. Fox News still faces a $2.7 billion defamation suit filed by Smartmatics. That is the other voting machine company. There was the one I mentioned before, and then there's Smartmatics, a global election technology company that also alleges Fox allowed its journalists and guests to broadcast falsehoods about is involvement in the 2020 election. So they still got another 2.7 billion, that's what it be, a $2.7 billion lawsuit. Now, in conjunction with the first lawsuit, maybe his son Larkland has been leading the company in such an awful way that maybe there's some people who wouldn't mind him being kicked out of there. Well, anyway, um, to hell with all of them. Okay. Murdoch acknowledges Fox News hosts endorse election fraud falsehoods. So they acknowledged it. They paid the 787 million. I believe the lawsuit was for like what, $1.5 billion, but they paid a settlement, and the other company agreed to it, and they, agreed to disagree, and that was the end of it. Mr. Murdoch's remarks, which were made last month as part of Dominion's 1.6, yeah, see, 1.6 billion. The other one is 2.7 billion. If they would have had to pay that 1.6 billion plus other possible damages attached to that, that would have pretty much sunk the News Corp, and they still may not survive the other lawsuit, and it will go to court. Now, those photos that you see there on the right, those are the voting machines. Those are the various types of voting machines that are made available to every city or county, every state, and even other countries depend upon that technology. And so by the Fox News people bashing Smartmatics and Dominion, that not only created doubt around their products, concerning their products in the US, but it also created doubt with some of their foreign customers. So how this happened is anybody's guess, but if Rupert Murdoch is not the one at the helm, then likely it has to be his son. So, also, if you recall, like I said, Murdoch, who knows how much longer he'll live, but if you recall when he was getting married, um, I don't know which news agency it was, but there was some photos floating around of some hooded figure with a sickle. Do you know where I can find the Murdoch Smith wedding? So, um, yeah, that happened. There was actually some hooded figure from the underworld that seemed to be searching around some of the places frequented by the Murdochs, like right here at this bus shelter. Do you know where I can find the Murdoch Smith wedding? So, if he didn't step down, who knows what would have happened? Maybe this will buy him some more time. Let's see. Black Queen says Baron Murdoch is all up in a crypt real bad. Yeah, right. This is Rupert Murdoch, and I'm up in it real bad. I'm up in it real bad. I'm up in it bad. I'm up in it real bad. Yeah, I guess one Murdoch is about as good as the other. Um, Seems like anybody attached to that name is nothing but trouble. So I hope this hooded figure that is not necessarily the angel of death, or whoever this person is, maybe he has some information about the voting machines. Maybe that's what he wants. Okay. When asked why New Zealand does not suffer from the rage of older white men as in other Western countries, Prime Minister Ardern, that is, replied, because we've never allowed Rupert Murdoch to set up a media outlet here. So I don't think it was just her call. I think just, I don't, I think that New Zealand doesn't want so much influence from Australia. Now, I've never been to either country. I don't know what their politics are like, but like there's always the upstate, downstate. Like with New York is the very conservative upstate compared to the downstate, where you'll find, New York and city and all. I think there's always that type of thing where you don't want to be so influenced. Well, in this case, you have a Australia, which I think has a larger population than New Zealand. I'm not sure, but or just maybe they seem to be uh, a bigger presence on the global stage, whatever the case may be. So maybe they just don't get involved with each other's politics like that. I mean, I'm pretty sure people go back and forth from one place to the other quite often, but whatever the case may be, having influence from your neighbor is not always necessarily a good thing. Um, so maybe that's why. Maybe it wasn't just his conservative politics as much as it was the fact that here's yet another influence from Australia. If that makes any sense, let me know. I've never really looked into it. I'm just thinking about that right now. B. Martin, Baron. So in the end, this man dies with his money sick. Yeah, exactly. He probably he he's not going to go to jail for anything. He will never know what it's like to wake up hungry or he's been well off for quite some time. I don't know what type of family he comes from, but essentially he's at that point where all of the wrong that he's done, he probably won't have that big moment of karma. And you might break a company, but you're not going to make the family poor. They will have influence for quite some time. Um, and then, of course, there's other companies like I could think of one right now that also is very conservative, and it's a media company. And think about this too. There are what, six big media companies in the U.S., and all of them are owned and operated by old white rich men. And as much as they love to say that, oh, this one is liberal, that one is liberal, uh, the truth is they're owned by a bunch of conservative rich white men. And whatever happens to the economy, even if there was a war, it will not have as big an impact on them, especially the ones that have stashed their money overseas. They won't feel anything. They'll just go to another house. So thank you very much, B. Martim. And S says, Baron, he was at Chucky's church, remember? Really? Did he go to the wedding? I mean, not the wedding, the coronation. He was at Chucky's church. For which occasion? Because I'm sure there's been more than one. But, well, I mean, he has the influence for it. He definitely has the influence to get into just about any space. But thank you so much, S. Okay, so right there, Rupert Murdoch has fueled polarization of society, Barack Obama says. And right here, Biden says Biden finds Murdoch's the most dangerous man in the world. Someone had wrote in a book. So, you know, I don't know how much power that Barack Obama or Joe Biden has to deal with someone like this, because not only do they make trouble for the country, but if it was up to him, they would never be elected president. Like there it says, the former U.S. President Barack Obama has suggested that Rupert Murdoch's media empire has led to greater polarization in Western society through news coverage designed to make people angry and resentful. Well, isn't that what I've been lecturing about? To turn it off. Because even if it's not a Fox News, they still need you to be reactive in some kind of way so you'll come back and watch it again. And Joe Biden called Murdoch the most dangerous man in the world, according to a fourth. I wonder what book that is. Huh. Okay. Okay. Let's move on. And then, of course, when I mentioned the Sussexes, how does this affect them? I mean, look at the company he keeps. Um, Pierce Morgan, Hoghead Pierce Morgan, and then, of course, there is Jeremy Clarkson. And throughout their careers, they have, back and forth, have worked for the Rupert Murdochs of this world over and over again. I mean, that is the circles they stay in. And that is one of the reasons why some people are so glad about what's his name? Bran. Is that his name? Yeah. They're so glad he's getting his comeuppance. Whether or not he deserves it, I have no idea because I haven't really followed him. So I've know some of the things that he used to say, but it seems like when you want protection, you go hard right. When you want to be protected, you have to identify with the hard right. It seems as though Charles and William both have aligned themselves with the hard right wing, right? Because if you go to the extreme right, they will protect you as long as you give them the proper cover that they need. And you can even tell in so many cases that people may not necessarily subscribe to it. They may not believe it. Pierce Morgan more so than Jeremy Clarkson. Uh, Pierce Morgan is not a dumb person, and he knows better. But he also is very expert when it comes to propaganda. Very much expert at that, and so that is the investment that he's made is to get access, to get protection, go to the right, stay on the right, and enters Lurch. Enters Lurch. You rang. Enters Lurch. There's Lurch, also known as the Prince of Wales, Prince William. Lurch has been a puppet ever since he got that big payout, allegedly. Lurch seems to have been singing for his supper. Lurch has some agreement, possibly, allegedly. As a matter of fact, it seems as though a lot of people in the family have agreements. Um, there's nothing really written about Sarah Ferguson anymore. They have nothing to say about Sophie Wessex, nothing but praise. And this is not just from the Murdoch people. This is seems to be across the entirety of the British media. Is nothing but positive stories. There's the occasional, innuendos or whatever, but mostly positive news. The only person who doesn't get protection is Prince Harry, who is likely the only person who didn't take their money and sign some secret agreement, right? Like, for instance, how awkward is this timing that William goes out there like the big dum dum he is and gives that speech about Martin Bashir and, of course, the BBC. Now, Martin Bashir, BBC, they are that's BBC is owned by the British government. As a matter of fact, there was a time when BBC was known to be quite liberal. Whether or not it really was, I don't know, but they seem to be quite liberal. You know, people trusted CNN, people trusted the BBC, and not just within their individual countries, but around the world. People trusted the BBC. They trusted them to be unbiased and trusted them to have the facts. Same with CNN. CNN seemed to be at one time a really quality news organization, and they have gone to the dark side. So Williams' BBC lies ruined my mother's life, and Harry says toxic culture led to her death. So different take, different brothers, different take. Harry uh, says that collectively, the British media and the way things are, that is what led to Princess Diana's death. Whereas William wants to single out the BBC and Martin Bashir. But why would he do that? Well, let me see. Um, if you had some secret deal with someone, I'm just saying allegedly, if you had a deal with someone, like let's say the News Corp or whoever, right? But if you had a secret deal, let's say that they have been listening to your phone calls since high school, right? Since before St. Andrews, uh, all the way back to Eton, they have been listening to your phone calls. Seem like they would know a lot about you, don't it? But in spite of that, you know they're only going to go so far. And so when you decide that you have had enough of it, they say, well, here, let me just take a figure out the top of my head, right? Take this 1.2 million pounds or 1 million pounds, whatever it was. Take this £1,000,000 and we won't bother you anymore. But make sure that your brother doesn't bother us either, allegedly. Well, they tried to get to Harry, didn't they? But Harry wasn't going to hear of it. Harry could have taken a settlement, or in other words, Harry could have, it is alleged, he could have made a deal with the devil, and he chose not to because those are the people responsible for his mother. Why would I align myself with someone who played a role in my mother's demise? Well, I don't know. We'd have to ask William about that, wouldn't we? Because that seems to be something that he's comfortable with, if that is indeed how it happened. If that indeed is the timetable where, one day he's gotten a secret deal and the next day he has a speech written for him, allegedly, and he goes up to a microphone in front of the press. And how many times has William actually had a speech where, out of the blue, he starts to dress people down about something that he doesn't like? How many times has he done that? How many times have you heard him speak publicly in the last few years? But on that particular day, it seems like under the guise of, this is what happened to my mother, and I want to call them out, or, or could it be something more sinister, like a speech that was prepared for him, possibly, allegedly, by one of the media groups, News Corp. News Corp. Oh, excuse me. One of the news groups. What if one of those news companies gave him a speech, or maybe a couple of those different companies gave him a speech and said, well, here, you got what you want. Go read this, will you? And so let's say that's exactly how it happened. He took a speech that was prepared for him, not his own words. And that speech seems to chastise the BBC News, making them the boogeyman. That same speech also tears into Martin Bashir. And because he was the one that conducted the interview, it'd be hard for him to deny that what William says is true. But by doing that, William is not saying that the BBC and Martin Bashir um, are solely responsible, but he implies it. And because most people are not going to go any further than the surface of what he's saying, then it seems as though, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Princess Diana is dead because of Martin Bashir and BBC News. Okay, well, I don't have to look at another documentary. Well, I don't have to look at Crown. Oh, I don't have to read another newspaper article. No more books, because he has cracked this case wide open. It was the BBC and Martin Bashir. Now, we all know that that's not the case. It wasn't Martin Bashir that was hounding her for photos that night. It wasn't the BBC. But this implies Bashir's lurid and false claims that he says fueled Diana's fear and paranoia. So, if you're not paying attention, you would assume that it wasn't Charles and the staff the men in gray suits that Princess Diana spoke about on so many occasions that had her somewhat paranoid and living in fear. But by saying fear and paranoia, it also implies that Princess Diana was mentally ill and not in possession of her faculties. And surely, if someone didn't make her insane, then she would be here today. He is doing the work for them. He blindly, or maybe he purposely, walked up to that microphone and gave this speech, which seems to absolve any responsibility or culpability from the tabloid media, and the only people responsible, and again, that isn't exactly what he's saying, but the implication is definitely there, that the only people that are responsible for his mother's death by driving her and his father apart were Martin Bashir and his lies and the BBC. But the problem with that assertion is Princess Diana says, those are my words. That's what I said. That's what I meant to say. Diana went out of her way to make sure that there was nobody around at Kensington Palace when she spoke to Martin Bashir. Now, Martin Bashir did what a lot of reporters do. He leveraged himself in a way that he would be available, that she would be available to him alone to share her words in front of a camera. But how did he get acquainted with Princess Diana? Just a reminder, most of you know, but just a reminder, it was her brother, Charles Spencer. Charles Spencer, one of the dumbest people I've ever known in life, the same one who said, you can draw a line between me introducing Martin Bashir and the day my sister died. You know we can hear you, right, Charles Spencer? We heard that come out of your mouth. So, in other words, you are partially, in some way, responsible for that connection, or if not completely responsible. Martin Bashir or whoever goes to you, and because your sister trusts you, she was able to trust him. Or am I missing something? Am I missing something? Because whatever hesitation Diana had to speak to someone, Diana went to her brother for help. And he wanted to help. I'm sure he meant well. But the truth is, if it wasn't for you, maybe Martin Bashir and the BBC and all of this stuff about fear and paranoia, as though that only comes from those two entities and not the royal protection officers who answered to Charles, not the men in gray suits who answered to Charles, not the rest of the royal staff that answered to Charles. None of them had anything to do with it. It was just the BBC and Martin Bashir. And throw onto that Charles Spencer. See how twisted that is? And once again, as I said, William is not smart. He's not clever. He's reactive. He reacts. He's incandescent with rage. He has this overblown sense of self-worth. He has this overblown sense of entitlement. He seems to think himself clever. And so someone puts a speech in your hand that pretty much vindicates the entire British media and really narrows it down to two people who are actually one person and the organization he worked for. Those are the people that are most responsible for Princess Diana's tragic and alarming and unexplained accident in a tunnel in Paris. Make that make sense for me, because I feel like I'm either missing something or William is stupid. I'm either missing something or William is stupid. And I hate to be so blunt about it, because after all, that's his mother, not mine. But It just doesn't make sense. Like right here, it's obvious that the establishment is working to silence Diana now that they have challenged the way the interview was obtained. Exactly. And how many times have we seen them do the same thing with the Sussexes, where whatever indication Meghan and Harry had given anyone for their reasons to want to have more privacy, they used that as a weapon against them, where they don't have a written quote. They don't have a video or audio of them saying, we're leaving because we want privacy. It's kind of a common sense thing that they want privacy away from the family, away from the men in gray suits, away from the constant leaks from Kensington Palace. Not that they want to hide from the world, but they twisted it that way. And that's the same thing right here. They are using William to silence his mother, and he walks right into it. They are going to challenge his content. What I can't believe this son of Charles is leading this. That is what Dr. Zane something said. But yeah, it is unbelievable. I still, every time I think about this thing with William, I still cannot understand what in the world was he thinking. What were you thinking when you went in front of that microphone and accused Martin Bashir and the BBC of being the reason for fear and paranoia, fueled Diana's fear and paranoia? I could not imagine taking something like that if it concerned my family, my mother at that, and making it possible for the real culprits to get a free pass, and you narrow everything down to the little brown man who worked for the big public company rather than the private companies that have a greater for-profit motivation as well as power to facilitate all of these situations. So right there, you can say, you can see right there, it says, included within unrestricted grant income of, in 2020, let me see, are amounts from a certain funder of which £760,000 has been designated for the Earthshot Prize and £340,000 has been designated for the early years. So do the math there. 340, 760. That sounds like $1 million settlement from a media giant with an agreement. That's what it sounds like. I'm not saying it is, but it sounds like an agreement that we will go easy on you and that stick figure you're married to. We'll go easy on you, bed knobs and broomsticks, and we'll give you this money. You know how you give out those honors to people, and at that point you kind of own them. Well, we're going to give you a big fat check, and just follow our lead, will you? And everything seemed to work out for him from that point on, doesn't it? Now, right there, Roy Anika says, the Duke of Cambridge is frustrated by the BBC's failure to address the false narrative of Martin Bashir's panorama interview with Diana, Princess of Wales. Prince William still feels a lot of hurt and pain at how his mother was duped by Bashir. So there you go. There's another person in the media that is singing from the same hymn book to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Little brown man, Martin Bashir, and the BBC. Little brown man, Martin Bashir, and the BBC. And then over here, Roy Anika, William hopes the BBC would finally question the interview's legitimacy. Why are we talking about how the interview was gotten? Why are we talking about that? What difference does it make? with its apology this week. By the way, nobody went to jail. And there is, and also, I don't know what the health status of Martin Bashir is, but he was supposedly in such poor health. You know, where did I hear that before? Where somebody was so unhealthy that they couldn't show up? And I'm not talking about TM. Uh, wasn't it the one who was accused at the BBC of having like these relations with someone younger than him, much younger than himself? Didn't he go to a hospital, and didn't he go to some type of rehab and counseling? Is that what happened to Martin Bashir? That suddenly he has this malady that does not permit him to be scrutinized publicly. So, in other words, long as he's quiet, this will go away. And hasn't it? When was the last time you heard someone mention Martin Bashir? William hopes that the BBC would finally question the interview's legitimacy with his apology this week. And there is a something column on the scandal. Great to see credit for my colleague, Rosamond Irwin. I guess that's the lady there at the bottom, who tirelessly exposed Bashir's deceit. Again, we're not talking about what Diana said. We're talking about the means in which she was able to say it. And then over here, it is really good to see William and Earl Spencer fighting for it. How many people are involved with making us look the other way? How many? They manipulated her and used her already vulnerable state to gain something. This is the same thing that they did with Schofield. Hasn't he paid enough? Hasn't he? And I mean, all of the people within the media seem to be saying the same thing at the same time. The same thing at the same time. All of them seem to, first of all, they wanted to make sure that you knew that there was the right age when this happened. Nobody questioned the age of the other person when that relationship started. I mean, physical relationship, right? They made sure that they distanced him from that. And then, of course, they told him to just go away. So that way, there was no investigation by the authorities. Out of sight, out of mind. So Martin Bashir is out of sight and out of mind. He's done. He may have actually, received some type of settlement that we don't know of. Maybe. I don't know. Diana was groomed and manipulated to deliver ratings. What you saw and what you heard were her feelings and thoughts. However, they came from the fear and paranoia. Oh, wow. Are we both using those words? Is that lifted from the pages of William's speech? Fear and paranoia fed and encouraged by Bashir. Bashir encouraged her to be paranoid? Okay, so Bashir was the one calling and hanging up and listening in to her phone calls. We do know that they were tapping phones, right? Bashir was telling the men in gray suits how to handle Diana, right? You see how twisted that is? That only Martin Bashir is responsible for Diana's mental state, or how Diana just simply felt about being a woman who was being cast out of the firm. And as we know, just to verify this, the fact that the Sussex's position in Canada was leaked by someone in that family, putting their lives at jeopardy. Is there any reason we should believe that before that happened to Harry and Meghan, that these very same things were not happening to Princess Diana? Where her whereabouts, her intentions? You got the weight of the institution on Charles' side. And then you have Diana, who had little or no protection in this world. And the few people who she felt she could trust, because of people listening in on her phone calls, because of people spying on her, she couldn't always trust the people closest to her. She couldn't even trust her brother. That's why she had to go and talk to him face to face. Look at how William's world was turned upside down because of people tapping his phone and his messages. Now, if something happens to him, do we get to yell fear and paranoia? Look at how it affected Harry. Both of them could barely trust anyone. It put a wall between them and the people that they should have been closest to. There's a lot of people that were cast out of their lives because they thought they couldn't trust them. Not just Harry, but William too. But William has crawled up in the bed with the devil. He's taking their money. He's singing their hymns from their hymns books. Oh, I'm being very peddled tonight, ain't I? And there, of course, is what's his name? What is his name? Andrew. What's his name? So William is trying to silence his mom, the mother who made it clear, Andrew Morton, she was not misled or tricked into this interview. There's a letter right there where Diana says, these are my words. No matter how this came about, the Panorama interview is what I wanted to do. There is very, comparable words, stories, accusations on the tapes that were smuggled to Andrew Morton. She made tapes that were delivered to Andrew Morton. The only difference between what's on the tapes and what's on the interview with Martin Bashir is that she is looking into someone's face. You are watching her words and her mouth moving at the same time. That's the only difference. Same thing. And William takes a check. William takes a payment and puts the money in his foundation or whatever he did with it. He takes the money and then he goes out there and gives a speech that was likely prepared for him. And then, of course, he says, I don't want you all to forget this. He said that interview should be locked away in the vault and should never be seen again. One more time. Is that your words, William, or is that someone else? Did you come up with that, or did someone else write that for you? Is that part of the settlement agreement that you will go and give this speech, dummy? Ooh, what a dum-dum. I mean, I've seen some dumb people in my life, but he ain't got the sense God gave a lemon. Just dumb. Who would do such a thing? You stand in front of a camera and you blame Martin Bashir and the BBC, not the people that chased and hounded your mother, lied about your mother. Not those people. The BBC and Martin Bashir. Harry's making the same mistakes as Diana, and I fear he'll come to regret it, just like his mother did, writes biographer Penny Junor. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle warned, look at history over car crash royal interview. And even before that, look at that. Diana should keep quiet. Harry said that no one should have died in that tunnel, that there's no reason. He thought that tunnel was like some long, vast cavern instead of just a straight shot through it. We don't even have the whole story, but they have what is his name? Senor Henri Paul. Yeah, they have Henri Paul. They can blame it on Henri Paul, and that's as far as it's going to go. They won't look at anything else. As long as they have him as the fall guy, then that's it. And then over there, Andrew Pierce, the editors of the three biggest selling tabloid newspapers at the time of the death of Diana, Princess of Wales, have disclosed for the first time their own share of guilt over the accident that killed her. That was then. But now it was Henri Paul. Henri Paul all day. If the paparazzi hadn't been following her car, wouldn't have been speeding, and the accident may never have happened. That's also in that article. That was in the Independent. And then here's like a major insult right here. You would think that William, who has been so cordial publicly with Camilla, you would think that this bothers him more, but I'm not sure it does. Hermage sequin service. Oh, that's clever. Queen Camilla picks Diana's favorite designer for coronation gown after they became firm friends. So you have this other thing where Camilla, who ends up going to Paris. She goes to Paris, the place where Diana died. Seems like she wouldn't want to go there for anything in the world, but it's almost like Charles and Camilla are dancing on a grave, right? And there's Camilla wearing white at the wedding. Also a familiar tactic. Jury, paparazzi and Henri Paul to blame for manslaughter of Diana. That's it. Paparazzi, Henri Paul. That's it. Not the fact that Diana was being tortured by her ex-husband and his then girlfriend or whatever. Not the fact that the men in gray suits were making life difficult. Didn't they take her HRH away? And by taking the HRH, didn't that leave her vulnerable to that situation in Paris? And then, of course, they said she gave up the HRH. She didn't want it anymore. Now, did they take it or did she refuse it? Which is true? Just like Meghan. Did she buy her clothes or did Charles buy it? Which is the truth? But the palace is not going to correct anything that doesn't make them look favorable. Let me see. Oh, yeah. And right there it says Princess Diana enjoyed gossiping. And right there it says Meghan Markle flew into a rage at something over the color of blanket. The same tactics that they were using against Diana. She didn't get along with the staff. She seemed like she was paranoid. All of those things, same tactics that they used. I mean, I got a bunch of receipts, y'all. Got a bunch of receipts. Princess Diana dark side doesn't get a look in. Of course, they're trying to make sure. And see, they don't care how they portrayed Diana in The Crown, except they want to make sure that if Diana is not seen as crazy, paranoid, and violent, then they will make sure that they go on a news media blitz to tell everybody, just in case it's not in the Crown. So the shady side of Meghan. See what I mean? Same tactics. Same tactics. Now, Prince William, Harry and I are now separate entities, right? So that was back in 2020. Sounds like around the time where somebody negotiated a payment, right? I've put my arm around my brother all our lives, and I can't do that anymore, Prince says. Well, I wouldn't want you to put your arm around me if you if you had made a deal with a tabloid and then tell me not to sue. If you'd have made a deal with a tabloid and then you're trying to convince me not to sue, you're trying to make me shave my beard. You're trying to tell me what to wear for my wedding. You're trying to tell me everything that I should do, even though you were able to do the opposite, or you were told not to. So I have to do the things that you couldn't do or you otherwise. So what is the deal between Prince William and Rupert Murdoch's tabloids? So that was the soundbite we listened to yesterday with this Paul Galizia. And of course, I do hope you all went to listen to that podcast because it's brilliant. And he speaks about the fact that the money that allegedly was paid out to William has gone into those charities. But he also said that if the tabloids suddenly stop reporting negatively about William and about Kate and about other people in the family, he said one could only assume, and it is an assumption, it's not necessarily the truth, but if all of a sudden they're hands off with the rest of the family, is it because Meghan is such a terrible threat to the Windsor family? Or is it because everybody has a deal? Everybody has signed on to that deal, even though these are some of the people that drove Diana out of the country and eventually to her death. These are the people that made her life miserable. These are the people that threatened her with their headlines, right? These are the same people. And so William took the deal. Harry did not. Allegedly. So one of the squatties posted a photo, and they decided that the only people that seemed to really, shall we say, be the honest brokers in the family remain in the photo. The other two were removed. So I had to go and dig for the original photo so I could see, because I know I've seen it before. It almost looks like a spread from Town and Country, but you can see right there on the right side, that's the original, and that's the one that was altered. But it's not my work. My work would probably have been a little bit neater and more inconspicuous, but they did a good job, though. They did a good job. And then, of course, now, the Royal Rota front pages for the last 3 days, glimpses of Kate and also Charles and Camilla, but no mention of global statesman, Mr. I'm Bringing Sexy Back, William, and his summit in New York. Not even a cheeky pic of him in his waders, which of course is the, big watertight pants and boot thing he had on. They don't even have a picture of that. None of that is on the front page. That didn't make the cut. Yeah, that did not make the cut, but for some reason, everything else did. And this was supposed to be like, and maybe Charles brokered some deal with the tabloids not to splash William on the front pages so close to his trip to Paris. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe Charles and Camilla arranged something, because it is alleged that the two Windsor households, Clarence House and Kensington Palace, it is alleged that they seem to be at odds with each other. And I think that that's been going on for quite some time. I don't think William listens to Charles. Maybe for whatever reason, he just doesn't. Maybe he's arrogant. Maybe he's angry with his father. Whatever it is, it doesn't seem like he listens to him or has taken any advice from him or whatever, because every time William goes on a royal tour, he makes a mess of things. Every time, not sometime, but every time there's always some kind of complication. And this is the other pages, no William. And then, of course, on the bottom left, it says Lieutenant Drew Kane said in an exclusive interview with Daily Express, U.S. version of Daily Express. Of course, we asked him, where's Kate? Well, I mean, where Kate was. He wanted to know why Kate wasn't here. Kate laughed and said he didn't answer that. I'm sorry. Kane laughed and said he didn't answer that. There was a heavy security presence standing waiting outside of the fire station 10 house which is gone to ladder company 10 and engine company 10. Many question at first as to whether it was actually Prince Harry. So again, the big crowds that you saw, number one, that is a tourist area. Number two, that firehouse is a tourist attraction, so close to ground zero. And number three, most people don't really know Prince William. They know Diana had two sons. They know Harry, but I think a lot of the younger people do not even know who William is. And a lot of the foreign people, I just don't suppose that they knew that was William. They saw barriers, they saw all of the security and everything, and they stopped. They watched. I probably would have watched too, wondering what was going on. So, but the derangers are getting as many miles out of it as possible. So I say let them have it. They need something right now. Let them have it. It doesn't bother me. We'll always have Dusseldorf. We'll always have Dusseldorf, days and days of it. And the thing is, it continues. So don't worry about it. No big deal. And anyway, I'm not trying to be petty, but I'm just saying, when those firemen were wondering where Kate was, have they seen Kate lately? Because Kate is not that that young lady that married into that clan so long ago. Kate is a mature mother of three. She's not the same Kate that they probably are thinking about from the marriage back in 2011, was it? That's not the same. It's just not the same Kate. I mean, we have in our mind's eye, we have a vision of certain people. You know how you meet somebody famous and you say, oh, he's little. He's such a short little thing. I thought he was tall. He ain't as tall as he looked in the movies. Well, just imagine. They'll be like, oh, her hair is darker in person than it is on TV. Right. And she's her hair is darker. I've never seen that color anywhere in nature before. That's very unusual. So she could have gone, but she chose to stay home with the kids, they said. But I'm just saying, sometimes you think you're missing out on something, but as they say, the truth is stranger than fiction. And I'm really petty to point out the truth. But then again, would I do it any other way? Connie Balmer! Hey, Connie Balmer, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Connie Balmer. Okay. And also, anytime Kate is invited to go someplace, you always have the risk of her saying something, anything. Either she's going to say something that doesn't make sense, or she'll say it and you can't hear, or she'll ask you a weird question like, can you taste the smell by smelling it? Either way, you are, it's not without risk to have Kate with you. So Let's see. Black Queen says, Baron, uh, Kate reminds the firefighters of their mamas who were born in the 1930s. Exactly. With their twin set of pearls and their coat dresses. Absolutely. Absolutely. A visit from Kate is like a trip in the time machine, a portal back to another time and place. Thank you so much for the super chat. Okay. So here it says remarkable royal family. After a year of dramatic changes, William and Kate are focused on their marriage and children, how they're planning for the future, and stepping up to protect the royal legacy. Now, that is the headline, but what is the truth? This. That's the truth. They are about to rip each other's spleen out any second now. The truth is, they don't get along. And I think it was the Express that had an article saying that they have had some very heated arguments. That's what the truth is. The truth is, and you know what? I just noticed this. Those are two different photos. Those are two different photos. Um, I didn't even realize that when I put those together, but those are two different occasions. You see what I mean? That is their resting whale space. Contrast that to not seven, but 6 days of Meghan and Harry. Contrast that to Meghan and Harry in Dusseldorf and tell me who's in trouble. Now, the real reason why Mayor of New York ditched a meeting with Prince William, and rightfully so, well, he was hanging out with the Simmons. He was hanging out with the Simmons. Thank you to our friend, family, dear friend, New York City Mayor, and everyone who showed up to show out. It meant so much to us to have you all there. So he went to party with Okie Lee Simmons. He went to go party with Okie Lee and her mama. And you know what? I think most men like Eric Adams, or women for that matter, will rather hang out with intelligent, beautiful fashion models and academically superior individuals than hang out with William any day of the week. Connie Bomber, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. And the membership, of course. Thank you for the membership. Greatly appreciate it. Now, just for a little background, let me see. Is this the one? I hope this is the one.
Okay, story time. Do y'all want to know how I know that the haters are obsessed with Meghan Markle? Like that there is a faction of people, like, who are just continuously spend all their time hating this woman. And I wasn't sure until yesterday. Okay, so I was at the UN yesterday for Mandela Day, which, amazing. Rest in peace, Nelson Mandela. And unexpectedly, I saw Meghan Markle. And I have been the biggest fan. I just love her. I loved her wedding. I loved her on Suits. I used to read the Tig. I have been a fan since pre-Harry, pre-everything, okay? I used to read her blog. So, I got very excited and I tweeted this. Woo! Lamp. But I tweeted this. And this, for me, went, like, viral. Like, my Twitter sucks. Nobody follows me. Probably not very funny. So, this is the most, like, Twitter engagement I've ever had. And I was like, gee, why? Okay, I guess they love her too. That's great. But there were a lot of, like, oh, it's good for you. That's so cool comments. But there were a lot of, like, really aggressive, targeted, racist hate comments at her, at me. People were DMing me, coming at me, like really, really bad stuff. Like some of the worst hate comments I've ever gotten. And as like a tester, I tweeted about her a few more times. I really am a big fan. Like, and these like, this is more likes than I ever get on Twitter. I get like 20 likes a tweet. This is kind of crazy. And it continues, like 1,000 likes a post. First of all, it was fantastic. I love her. I didn't get to talk to her. I didn't feel it was appropriate to like ambush her on a day of remembrance for Nelson Mandela, but I got to see her from far away. I took a picture for me. I'm not going to share it because it was like, you know, an off guard candidate I took of her. But, you know, anyway, it was amazing. But I am so shocked. Like, hundreds of people are attacking a teenager for being a fan of a celebrity or of somebody, like of an actress and I guess a princess or a duchess. Like, who? That's so weird. Like, people don't post, oh, I love this artist or I love anybody, and people just like pile on and call them names and call them racist things and are like, you must be a dumb brainwashed idiot. I was like, damn. So in conclusion, the comments are still pouring in, and let me just say, y'all are obsessed. Like, she has them pressed, stressed, obsessed, she got him. It's insane. And it's like grown men, random old white ladies, like, who spend their time posting the craziest theories, just the wildest stuff. And I was like, do y'all have a life? Literally a random white man DM'd me to say, did you know she's in the CIA and like spying for people? But you know what? Despite the ridiculous hate comments I got for just saying I love Meghan Markle, it was a crazy full circle for me seeing her. I love her. Like, when I was 15 or 16, I went to the UN again, or I guess before, for a charity thing that I was doing. And not only did I copy her hairstyle, I collaged it. This is a collage. The lamp again. This is a collage that I made when I was like, I think this is 2016. And there's me doing charity work because she like inspired me to like be in philanthropy and be like yourself and be glamorous while helping people. I love her. When I tell you, her engagement hair was my go-to hairstyle for years. This is my junior prom. I did the same thing for senior prom. I love this woman. I've seen all of Suits, like, quiz me on anything. I loved Suits. When I heard like the dating rumors, I was like, yo, Rachel Zane! Like, I love her. I love Suits. Like, I am very proud of having been a fan for so long. And she was so beautiful and so graceful and just like not calling attention to herself, like really focused on the events of Mandela Day. Like, she was not, just really peaceful, lovely, elegant, quiet, focused on the speakers. Looking at her like made my day. It was just wow. Also, fun fact, I missed my Yale tour because I was watching her wedding. I was in a hotel room, not in New Haven, in Hartford, and I had to get up and drive to Yale. But I tried to watch her wedding instead, and I didn't make it in time for the group tour, and maybe that's why I go to Harvard. I don't know, not Yale.
I like that little shade at the end where she reminded people, maybe that's why I go to Harvard and not Yale. But maybe she told that story to Mayor Adams while they were hanging out. Who knows? But good on her. So I told you all that Celebrity always seems to find just the wackiest photos of the royal family. Like this one with William. Toodles. I mean, that does kind of look like he's saying Toodles. Where are you off to, sir? Pulled pork sandwich. Toodles. 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 Oh, man. Toodles. Toodles. Toodaloo. Toodles. Where can I get a pulled pork sandwich? Toodles. Oh, Oh man. Oh well. And right here, you can see Jose Andreas. He didn't have time to talk to William, but he found time to talk to Anderson Cooper about that cookbook. Remember that from yesterday? How Jose Andreas, William was trying to get him to come over to the what was it, the consulate or whatever place he was at. He was trying to lure him over there so he could talk to him about God knows what and get his photo taken. Well, Jose Andreas didn't have time for Williams nonsense, but right there you can see it tonight. I'll be on AC 360 to talk about something very special, the new World Central Kitchen cookbook, stories and recipes from incredible chefs and World Central Kitchen team members around the world. Tune in, and remember, you can buy your own copy of Feeding Humanity, Feeding Hope. Well, there you go. It seemed like he had plenty time for other stuff, but he just didn't have time for that nonsense from Williams. So he decided, rather than put myself through that and give him some type of hand up or handout or whatever he was looking for, why don't I just go and talk to Anderson Cooper? Also, he was in a conference, or well, it was something that they had with the Clinton Global Initiative. He just didn't have time for Williams. So, but that's what happens when you come to New York and you try to crash a party. They tell you about yourself, even if they don't say a word. Oh, I love it. I love it. Let me see. I'm trying to find that photo of him at sitting with Bill Clinton. See if I can find it. Oh, yeah, these are the photos from day one. I took a little license here and there. And it seems as though he couldn't barely give him any eye contact. He couldn't be bothered. And I think that chair next to him may have been for Jose Andreas. It may have been for Eric Adams. I don't know. I think William was expecting quite a few people to come through and prostrate themselves for his benefit. Leg says, I am sure he got a full, let me see, he got his full, oh, you're talking about the sandwich, his hoagies in New York City. Of course, of course. I mean, William's a survivor. If you can't get a pulled pork sandwich, then go for the hoagies. Yeah. If you don't have a pulled pork sandwich, then a hoagie will do. Woo. Okay. Let me see. Not that. What was I looking for? Oh, there's Eric Adams with the Sussexes. And I think that was before he became mayor, right? Was he the police something or candidate, whatever? But you see, he went all the way to the United Nations to make sure he was in a photo with the Sussexes. So, in spite of that little clumsy comment that he made, who knows? Okay. Okay, let me see. Where am I? Right here. Prince William tells the fire department heroes to talk about mental health, taking line from his brother Harry's campaign. Ooh, who wrote that? Who wrote that? Taking line from his brother's campaign? Wasn't that something they were supposed to be doing together? Ooh. How much is he paying those people that has his publicity thing for him? A page from his brother's campaign? That's almost as bad as Meghan, Harry, and the other royals. Remember that? Remember that? Meghan and Harry and the other royals. That's all. That's, to me, that sounds like Meghan, Harry, and the other royals. Wow. I tell you, Willie can't get no respect, can he? Oh, a page out of his brother's book. That is, if I was him, I wouldn't take that. I'm just saying, if I was William, I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't take that. When I got back to Kensington Palace, everybody better had, because I wouldn't take it. And then right here, during an emotional New York City visit, watch Prince Harry was in New York City for the Earthshot Prize Innovation Summit. And during a walkabout with fans, he was gifted souvenirs for Princess Kate and for the kids by fans. Well, that was really nice, wasn't it? They gave him some gifts to take back home. So, yeah, nothing interesting about that. That was in the hello. But yeah, it was a clear, sunny day. You could see everything clearly, right? The weather was perfect. The fans were in good spirits. William seemed to be happy, although you can't really tell by looking at him when he's happy, but he seemed to be happy. Although, you know what? I did notice something. The firemen, most of them are not smiling. You notice that? They're not even smiling. They were so glad to see William leave, they didn't know what to do, especially when they found out that Kate wasn't going to be there. Um, they were so glad he left. And this is why Eric Adams didn't go, because could you imagine the mayor of New York City having to escort William around? William is not in a capacity of a chief executive. Um, Eric Adams is. Eric is, the very top in New York City. William is number 2 back home. And so, that's not something that you would do. You would have your number 2. You'd have one of your cronies go and take him around. Eric Adams is too busy to take his time out of his day to go and walk William around a fire station where he invades the sacred space of the fire department. This was just humiliating. You could see that nobody's smiling here. And I think I see one grin, or is that somebody trying not to laugh? And the police or fire commissioner, it looks like he's smiling. And that's it. 2 smiles out of the whole group. I don't know why I didn't notice that last time. Let me see. Black Queen says, Baron, Willy Wonka and the Hoagie Factory. Good one. Willy Wonka and the Hoagie Factory. I mean, they just keep cranking them out. Right, Willy Wonka and Willy Wonka and the Hoagie Factory. That just fits too perfect, no pun intended. Let me see. King faces criticism after he forces 4 ministers to fly 400 miles to his private Scottish mansion for a taxpayer-funded meeting about carbon emissions. Hold on, I don't think this thing is on. Can you hear me? I said King faces criticism after he forces 4 ministers to fly 400 miles to his private Scottish mansion for a taxpayer-funded meeting about carbon emissions that are produced when you burn fossil fuels, especially the type of fuel needed for aviation, which is filthy. But that is what Charles did, was he actually had them burn those fossil fuels so that they could come up to Scotland for a meeting about, guess what? Carbon emissions. Is he unwell? Is he okay? I'm just asking for a friend. And then if that's not enough hypocrisy, it gets even better. King Charles, who is said to be 35th visit on his 35th visit to France, and Queen Camilla, queen consort, not an actual queen, but a queen consort, because she wasn't born of royal blood, landed at Orly Airport on a British Airways flight and were met on the red carpet by the Prime Minister, Elizabeth Bourne. I think that's the, let me see, by the Prime Minister. Oh, is that the Prime Minister? Elizabeth. Oh, that's French. Elizabeth Bourne. Let's see. Their mode of transportation was a contrast to Elizabeth II, who had traveled to Paris by Eurostar train in 2014, 2004 and 14. The King and the Queen were driven from the airport in their own Bentley, the state Bentley, which was transported from the UK, but the King accompanied Macron down the Champs-Élysées. So isn't that something? Not only did they burn fossil fuels to get there, but they also, instead of taking, the environmentally friendly train, which, doesn't take much longer, by the way. It's like about 2 hours. It's a pleasant ride. Get you right into central Paris. But instead of doing that, they flew over and they had the state Bentley shipped over. How about that? Leg says, great, let's go to the World Trade Center fire station where people gather every day and block off several streets to pretend that it's all for you. Exactly. By doing all of that, blocking off the street and all the security agents and of course, they prepped the crowd. That they sent people out there to prep the crowd. Oh, did you hear? We think Prince Harry's at the fire station. It's Prince Harry. Yeah, Legs. Exactly. That's exactly what they did. Thank you so much for the super chat. That is it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just like being in Times Square. If you see a bunch of people in a circle, everybody's going to stop and look. Now, Dior actually tweeted a regal appearance for the state dinner held this evening at the Chateau de Versailles. Queen Camilla appeared in an exquisite Dior couture evening gown and cape in midnight blue silk crepe, especially dreamed up by Maria Grazia Chiuri, a masterpiece epitomizing Dior savoir-faire. Okay, the Dior savoir-faire. So again, I said it yesterday. I will say it again. She looks good. This is the best I've ever seen her look. However, I'm just hoping for, her sake that she gets those bespoke, special made shoes just for her feet. I hope she gets those back to the Natural History Museum before they notice that they've gone missing. But yeah, other than that, she looks good. I will say that I've never seen her look better. It does take a village. It definitely took a village. Now, I have to say, there has been a sighting near Versailles. It just so happens that just to coincide with the visit, there was a sighting of the phantom of the Palace of Versailles. But was it actually the Phantom of Versailles? Or was it Queen Camilla? Yes, some cloaked figure with a distorted, evil-looking face and some rather sinister-looking eyes were seen scurrying about the hallowed spaces of the Palace of Versailles. And some of the older people in the community, there's always been a folk tale about the ghost of Marie Antoinette or some of the other people that have lived in the Palace of Versailles. They would see like wicked, ugly faces from the window. They would hear something galloping about those parquet floors, and seemingly there was no one there. And none of it made any sense until the state dinner. And so I can't help but think that it was likely both. It was Camilla is the Phantom of Versailles. Help me make the music of the night. I had nothing better to do. I had absolutely nothing better to do. And I took a look at her and I said, damn, she looks like the Phantom of Versailles. And so, of course, I went straight to work. Send in the shade. There ought to be shade. Well, maybe is here. Oh, I think it's a fitting title. I think it nothing encapsulates and captures that rather startling appearance better than the title Camilla is the Phantom of Versailles. Oh, well, I mean, most witches have been characterized as wearing capes. And so there are quite a few people who love Diana and believe that she is the wicked witch of the devil. So I think it is a fitting look. I think it is a fitting look. So, okay. Good night, Carol. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, good night, Carol, and good morning, Connie Balmer. Oh, and of course, it would not be an occasion if Camilla didn't raid the Queen's jewelry. Yes, rather than going into a museum or some collection someplace else, a rather startled looking Camilla decided she would go into the Queen's jewelry box. But at least she's not wearing a tiara. I think the Queen might have worn a tiara. Now, you all should be very proud of yourselves. You should be very proud. Sussex Squad annual fundraising. Well, once again, you've done it. You've done it. Collectively, the Sussex Squad has raised over $1 million. It is hard for me to process that, but it's true. The Sussex Squad has raised over $1 million in the past 5 years. So be very proud of yourselves. Rather than just going after people, rather than turning Trump supporters into pigs or other things, pointing out who's loves pulled pork sandwiches, who has taken their cue from Fosse musicals. Rather than all that stuff, we have actually raised money. We have raised money. So this is yet another example of how the Sussex Squad makes it happen. Oh, Lydia has the fundraiser right there. Thank you very much. I will pin that to the top of the chat. Okay, so over $1 million. Now, Oxford Circus. Oxford Street is a very famous shopping district. Oxford Street is where you find the Selfridges department store. Oxford Circus brought to a standstill by a police escort for Princess Anne. Pointless, disruptive, expensive, dangerous. Pointless, disruptive, expensive, and dangerous. You could say that again. Hopefully, the police motorcade didn't kill or seriously injure anyone today. Rest in peace, Helen Holland. Rest in peace. Which is something to think about because on more than one occasion, people have been injured. And on 2 occasions that we know of, people have died because of these unnecessary traffic stops. Now, this type of high level motorcade protection only happens when they're on official duty. This looks like a lot of fuss to go cut a ribbon at a hospital ward or to open up some sports match or whatever it is. It just doesn't make sense. But they stopped the traffic for Princess Anne. Someone died because of Sophie. Do you guys remember V. Kativu? This is the young lady that was featured in a video with Prince Harry, where the 2 of them were presenting the Diana Awards. Well, she has been living her best life. As a matter of fact, if you look at this, a presidential invite. Guys, tomorrow morning, I am giving one of the biggest speeches of my life so far at the United Nations in front of the President of the General Assembly, and I am nervous as hell. And in another tweet, she said, I've been invited by the President of the United Nations General Assembly to give a speech at the ministerial preparatory meeting for the Summit of the Future. And then also, the other tweet says they want to speak third. They want to speak third. I think that's a typo, third after the President of the United Nations General Assembly himself and the Secretary General of the United Nations at this critical meeting for how the future is going to go and what the agenda will be. Now, if you guys are not familiar with her, she is what you refer to as a high achiever. She is a high achiever. Like right here, a dream team. There she is with Roger Federer, champions. Let me see, Roger Federer Education Champions. It is the Global Partnership for Education. And yesterday at the United Nations, we all gathered behind one cause, championing access to education for children and girls. And then this is the part that gets me. You're 25 years old and just moved into your dream 2-bedroom apartment for your dream university in a new country? Yeah. So from the UK to the US. And there on the right, it says, the biggest week of my life, I've moved from the UK to America to start my PhD from Oxford to Harvard and now becoming future Dr. V, a doctor of education, leadership, and policy. Let the games begin. So new apartment, new school, speaking at the United Nations, all of these things are happening for her. And she's only 25 years old. 25 years old. I just secured the keys to my dream 2-bedroom apartment at university in a whole new country, all by myself. And I am so happy. Hello, Los Angeles. If I guess she says, I guess I'm a California gal now who's about to start her PhD classes in less than a week. Wow. All I could say is wow. That was August 18th, I think is the date of that tweet. So there you go, you guys. Wanted to leave you with something positive, and that was it. So I'm going to go back to, no, I don't want to go to the top of that one because that monster is there. I'll leave it there for now. But yeah, V is doing her thing. She's living her best life, and only at the very tender age of 25 years old. How awesome is that? 25-year-olds are doing everything these days, I tell you. So thank you very much, you all. Thank you for staying for 2 hours and 22 minutes and 20 seconds. Thank you all for you're very generous. Oh, and by the way, I did get another Cash App from TS. TS, thank you very much for the Cash App. And again, we had a loss in the Sussex Squad family. So I will be putting a card on the community tab where you can leave your very kind thoughts and your prayers. Let's see. Yeah, I'll do that probably tonight. So YM Droid just had a loss. Her mother passed away today. And in spite of that, she did come over to Royal Sussex and tell us about it. I appreciate that. Um, the fact that in this community that we can be here for each other is incredible. And I'm going to tell you, you guys prayed for my brother. You prayed for a miracle. And let's just say things could have turned out very different. And that was what, almost 2 years ago? Things could have turned out very differently. So thank you for that. Okay. What is that? Why those two English ladies don't wear a petticoat under their dresses? Might as well put them in a what do you call it? What do you call those things for your waistline? A corset. Might as well put them in some corsets too. But yeah, that whole dress flying up, that was old like years ago. Yeah, Diane Hawkins. I mean, she has some friends out there now, right? She went to Los Angeles when she and Harry made that video together. So I wouldn't be surprised. Zimbabwean education advocate Varaidzo Kativu says Prince Harry is one of the sweetest people after co-hosting the prestigious Diana Awards 2023 with the Duke of Sussex at the weekend. As a two-time recipient of the prestigious Diana Award, Varaidzo continues to make a profound impact within the education sector, inspiring countless others to pursue their dreams and make positive changes in society. Varaidzo, serving as co-host alongside Prince Harry, brought her unwavering determination and passion for education to the forefront. Her presence, combined with Prince Harry's, ensured that the voices and achievements of youth advocates were amplified and celebrated throughout the ceremony. It's such a dream to be able to do this with him. He is one of the sweetest people, and I'm truly so excited. We did a great job, if I do say so myself. I feel honored to have my efforts advocating for the access to education for underrepresented or underprivileged groups recognized. Every time things like this happen, it helps give my work a stamp of recognition, which helps me reach more people, and most importantly, to reach those who can help. I'm just so grateful to be able to step into rooms like this and always to bring my full self, she said. The Diana Awards, established in memory of the late Princess Diana, are presented annually to young individuals ages 9 to 25 years old who demonstrate exceptional commitment and dedication to making positive changes in their communities. Okay. That wasn't the video I was looking for, but you get the point. Plus, you know, I love to play my Beverly Hillbillies music. It's actually music that is inspired by wine. It's called vino, but it does sound like the Beverly Hillbillies. I will admit it does sound like the Beverly Hillbillies. You got me on that one. No argument. Yeah, she flew out to Los Angeles, I think it was in June, to meet with Prince Harry for the Diana Award. What did they give out? A scholarship or something like that? And it was a very cute exchange that they had. And I'm trying to see if I can find that particular video, but I do not see it. Is this it? Nope, that's not it either. Makes you wonder, how many Diana Award videos do I have? Oh, I just found it. Okay, I just found it. Let's do the right one. It's a short video. What is that title? Oh, Diana Award, aptly so. See what I get for doubting myself?
I also have a very special guest sitting next to me, a strong advocate for young people driving change. Please welcome Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex.
Thank you, V, for the very warm welcome. It's a pleasure to be here today celebrating the incredible achievements of young people who embody the spirit of the Diana Award. V, I'm especially honoured to have the chance to speak with you again. Your dedication to equality and justice has inspired many, including myself.
Thank you. The feeling truly is mutual. Changing the world must be a collective global effort with everyone playing their role and utilising the platforms that they have.
Well, sometimes it's easy to question one's ability to make a difference, and your point about change for the better as a collective force is so important. When someone steps up to be of service, they automatically join this collective. No one is ever a conduit for change alone. Each one of us has the ability to help create a more equitable world. And the brilliant award recipients we're honouring today are proof of that. They exemplify the notion that when we use our voices, change really can happen.
And I completely agree that the world is a challenging place to navigate, but my strength comes from knowing that my voice can change things for the better, a strength shared with all the award recipients being recognised today.
Absolutely, Evie. Your voice is a powerful voice. As we come together, I'm reminded of the profound belief that my mother held in the transformative power of young people. She recognized their unique ability to challenge the status quo and push for a more inclusive and compassionate society. Her legacy continues to inspire and serve as an example of how to navigate the complexities of the whole world today. And so many of the numerous challenges that we face disproportionately affect young people and, of course, their futures. And whether it's climate change, mental well-being, or systemic injustices, the obstacles can sometimes seem overwhelming. But what gives me hope is the collective power we possess when we work together, the strength in diversity of voices and perspectives that encompass it.
And you're absolutely right. Thank you for all that you do to help elevate our voices and champion our work.
Earlier this month, Prince Harry and Diana Award Chief Executive T. Tall met with the charity's Roll of Honor alumni in LA for a Conversations for Change session.
Did Harry do that, or did Harry do that? Did y'all see Harry? I think they are absolutely adorable together. I thought they were absolutely adorable. And you could just see she has a very bubbly personality. Like she just couldn't
Has
believe
inspired
that
many.
she's sitting there with Harry talking about the Diana
Thank
Award.
you. The feeling truly is mutual. Changing the world
I
must
love
be a
that.
collective
Well,
global
thank you
effort
so much,
with
Sherry,
everyone
for
playing their
the
role
list.
and utilizing
Thank
the
you
platform.
to Diane Baptiste, the mysterious MR from Cash App, Sean for communing with Her Majesty the Queen. Let's see, Alice Langdon, Legs, YM Droid, Black Queen, B. Martim, and also mysteriously S. Oh no, not oh no, that's S, not from the Cash App. And let's see, Black Queen again and again, and then TS from the Cash App. Connie Baumer from Switzerland, and Legs a couple times. Thank you all very much for your super chat, super stickers. Thank you for your memberships. Some of them are getting to be like a couple of years old now. Very interesting. I can't believe that. And all right, very good then. Oh yeah, you mean Kate Middlebaum? Kate Middlebaum? Well, she's kind of used to it because they said back in St. Andrews that it wasn't unusual for people to be walking down the path and all of a sudden you see somebody's bum hanging out the window, and you didn't have to even ask because her reputation preceded her. So you didn't even have to ask, well, who is that? Everybody knew. Oh, that's just Kate. She always does that. So all right, then. That's it. Love you guys. Thank you so much for watching Raw Sussex. And let me find an appropriate quote of the day. Let me find an appropriate quote of the day. Well, okay. Oh, I don't see them. Wait. I got it. Gotta be here. Oh, there we go. Perfect. So, try to find one that I haven't used before. Oh, well, this is interesting. When the rich rob the poor, it's called business. When the poor fight back, it's called violence. Oh, man. Let me see here. Oh, at my age, I can care less what anybody thinks about me except God, TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. Those are the only people I answer to. God, TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. Other than that, nobody else exists. Let me see here. Okay. I can choose to let it define me, confine me, refine me, outshine me, or I can choose to move on and leave it behind me. Y'all get what I just said? Let me do that one more time. I can choose to let it define me, confine me, refine me, outshine me, or I can choose to move on and leave it behind me. Ooh, I like that. Oh, funny how drinking 8 cups of water seems like it's impossible, but 8 beers and 6 shots in 3 hours go down like a fat kid on a seesaw. Oh, that's funny. Uh, oh, this is very touching. To love someone is to learn the song in their heart and sing it to them when they have forgotten it. All right, I like that. All right, this is the last one. Happiness is letting go of what you assume your life is supposed to be like right now and sincerely appreciate it for everything that it is. At the end of the day of this day, before you close your eyes, smile and be at peace with where you've been and grateful for what you have. Life is good. Okay, I like that. Yeah, be grateful for where you've been and what you have because life is good. Or, as a flight attendant once said, marry me and fly for free. Yes, marry me and fly for free. Being a male is a matter of birth, being a man is a matter of age, but being a gentleman is a matter of choice. Hello. Hello. Oh, now somebody needs to hear this. I don't know who it is, but somebody needs to hear this. Dear God, if today I lose my hope, please remind me that your plans are better than my dreams. Ooh, I like that. Your plans are better than my dreams. Is that your word for? Oh, I didn't realize there was nothing on the screen. Is that your word for today? Uh, Let me see here. There we go. There's something. Let me see. Let me see. You run me out of town on foot, but I'll ride back. Oh, you know what? I didn't realize I put that on the screen. But I'll ride back on a Harley with a Hell's Angel behind me. All right. Okay, and we're done. Almost 3 hours now. Yeah, it is time to move on, isn't it? Okay, well, we'll end with the Ginger Avenger as per usual, and I will see you all tomorrow.